Consider supporting the work of Notes from an Aspiring Humanitarian by becoming a monthly patron. Your contributions will help keep the resource alive and support its mission. Visit patreon.com/NAHblog to learn more and make a contribution of $3, $5, $10, or $20 per month. Again, that's patreon.com/NAHblog. You can start or stop anytime. Thank you for listening. Welcome to the Notes from an Aspiring Humanitarian podcast. I'm your host, Relando Tompkins-Jones. I'm a social worker, social justice educator, writer, organizational consultant, and now podcaster who works to build more equitable and inclusive communities. I am also an aspiring humanitarian. My experiences have shown me that in the process of working for social justice outwardly, it's also important for us to continue to critically examine ourselves, shedding attitudes and behaviors that are oppressive to make room for those that are more inclusive, just, and humanitarian. What is an aspiring humanitarian, you ask? When I say humanitarian, I don't mean humanitarian in the harmful sense of placing ourselves in the role of a benevolent hero who's there to swoop in and save others. I mean dedicating one's life, time, and energy to honoring the ways that our destinies are intertwined. It's about accepting the lifelong pursuit to become more humane to those around us, with the recognition that we lose important parts of our humanity when we allow and enable the suffering of others. It means acknowledging our many contradictions and complications and aspiring to do more, aspiring to do better. It means acknowledging that systems of oppression exist by design and not by accident, and working towards an individual and collective transformation that includes an unshakable belief that our society's safety, viability, survival, and ability to thrive is only as secure as our most marginalized community members. Since 2011, my blog, Notes from an Aspiring Humanitarian, has been a place where I've written and curated content on issues of equity and social justice. Through using written word, film, and video, and other forms of media for social justice education, I hope to continue to expand and enrich the narratives about social issues that face our society and to find ways to take action while encouraging others to do the same. Today, the blog and now the podcast is for others who share a passion for that same journey. No matter who you are, where you come from, what your identities are, or what area of work you're in, there's room enough for all of us in this work, and I hope that engaging with the podcast or the blog can move you closer to discovering or reaffirming your answers to the questions that you may have about how you can best be of service. Thank you for choosing the Notes from an Aspiring Humanitarian podcast. I'm your host, Relando Tompkins-Jones. This week's episode is really about recognizing that representation really does matter when it comes to social work and affirming the need for more Black therapists. I was recently asked my thoughts on whether or not social workers should pursue therapy, and I wholeheartedly believe that it's important. It's very important that we do. I really don't think it's good to ask people to be vulnerable in ways that we aren't willing to be. And plus, practitioners are not infallible and need to work on their own stuff as well. But even in that process, some attempts are better than others. So in an effort to process my own feelings about so much that has been going on lately, I sought support and was referred to a white therapist. So because talking about white supremacy with white people as a Black person can be exhausting, I had an internal debate with myself about whether or not I would disclose to this person how I was feeling about the continued surge of Black death, the continued extrajudicial killings of unarmed Black people at the hands of police. I debated internally on whether or not I would talk about the heaviness I carried from continued exposure to minoritized stress. Ultimately, though, I decided to share because if I didn't, I wouldn't be truly honoring my own feelings and the support I needed to process those feelings. When I began to share, the therapist hadn't heard of the Amy Cooper incident in which she called the police on a Black man in a park and didn't understand the racial dynamics at play in the story. Not only that, The therapist was not aware of the death of George Floyd, of Breonna Taylor, of Tony McDade, or others. So as I began to share that I saw a through line connecting the millions of Amy Coopers, the white supremacist propaganda depicted in the Birth of a Nation film, the murder of Emmett Till, and other events, I learned that this person was not aware of any of these things. So while the experience reminded me of how important it is to continue my own education about my own relationship to power and privilege as it relates to those lived experiences I don't understand because I don't have to, it was also very exhausting as I spent most of the time directing the person to resources instead of processing my own feelings about what's happening, at the moment. At another point in my professional career, I spent time working with a Pathways program designed to introduce students to the field of public health. The program had a foundational understanding of the reality that Black people are disproportionately affected by health disparities, yet we are heavily underrepresented in the workforce of public health professionals who are engaged in reducing and ultimately really eliminating those health disparities. So, through field placements, skill building, workshops, and mentorship, the program supported students' ability to see themselves in the work that they might be encouraged to pursue public health as a career or area of study. So, the idea is really if we can get people who are intimately connected to the pain and positions of practice and leadership within the field, then we may begin to see an increased reduction in health disparities. Centering those who are pushed to the margins when it comes to creating solutions to systemic problems. The field of social work could really benefit from a similar pathways approach. Are we monolithic as Black people? No. Do we need more Black therapists? Yes. Must practitioners always share the same identities as the people they support? No. Are understanding identities and their connection to power, privilege, and oppression in relation to others important? Yes. Do we need more Black therapists? Yes. We must also be critical about how the profession can better support Black therapists who are currently practicing. Centering their voices, experiences, and needs will bring us closer to that place. So many thanks to those of you who do this work, even as you are also intimately familiar with and impacted by the issues. Thanks again for choosing the Notes from an Aspiring Humanitarian podcast, and I look forward to engaging with you in the next episode. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a review and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To find show notes for this and additional episodes, visit podcast.notesfromanaspiringhumanitarian.com. Notes from an Aspiring Humanitarian is a labor of love and will continue to be. Consider supporting the work of Notes from an Aspiring Humanitarian by becoming a monthly patron. Your contributions will help keep this resource alive and support its mission. Visit patreon.com/NAHblog to learn more and make a contribution of $3, $5, $10, or $20 per month. Again, that's patreon.com/NAHblog. You can start or stop anytime. Thank you for joining me this week. Take care.